War is a tragic and destructive aspect of human history, causing immense suffering and instability. Conflicts in regions like Ukraine and the Middle East have captured global attention. But beyond the geopolitical complexities, there is a web of interests that often remain hidden from the public eye. This article delves into the intricate web of beneficiaries behind these conflicts, with a particular focus on the military-industrial complex and the propaganda machine used to maintain public support for war. The military-industrial complex, a global behemoth. Before diving into the specific cases of Ukraine and the Middle East, it's essential to understand the military-industrial complex, MIC. The MIC is a network of companies, government agencies, and lobbyists that profit from the development, production, and sale of military hardware and services. It's a vast and influential entity with connections around the world, including in the United States, Russia, and Europe. The scale of the MIC. To put the scale of the military-industrial complex into perspective, consider the United States. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, SIPRI, in 2021, the U.S. defense budget was a staggering $778 billion, accounting for nearly 40% of global military spending. This budget supports thousands of companies involved in defense contracting, ranging from aerospace giants like Boeing and Lockheed Martin to smaller suppliers. Profits of the MIC. The MIC is undeniably profitable, with defense contractors reaping immense financial gains from war-related activities. In the United States alone, the top 5 defense contractors, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, and Boeing, generated over $100 billion in revenue in 2021. The more conflict and war persist, the more opportunities these companies have to supply arms and military technology to governments and non-state actors. 2. Ukraine, a geopolitical hotspot. Ukraine has been a focal point of global tension since its annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014, leading to a protracted conflict in eastern Ukraine. This crisis has had severe humanitarian consequences, but has also created financial opportunities for certain actors within the military-industrial complex. Arms sales to Ukraine. The conflict in Ukraine has been a source of lucrative arms deals for various countries and defense contractors. The United States, in particular, has supplied Ukraine with military aid, including lethal weapons such as Javelin anti-tank missiles. In 2018, the U.S. approved a sale of Javelin missiles worth $47 million to Ukraine, significantly benefiting American defense contractors. Arms trade in the region. Ukraine's conflict has not remained localized, as the arms trade has spilled over into neighboring countries. For instance, the conflict has indirectly contributed to a boost in arms sales in Eastern Europe. Nations in the region have increased defense spending and purchases of military equipment, leading to profits for European and American defense companies. 3. The Middle East, a perpetual cauldron of conflict. The Middle East has long been a region riddled with conflict, and it has witnessed countless wars and uprisings over the decades. This continuous instability has proven advantageous for the military-industrial complex. Saudi Arabia and Yemen. One prime example of the military-industrial complex's profits in the Middle East is the ongoing conflict in Yemen. Saudi Arabia, backed by Western powers, has been involved in a brutal war against Houthi rebels. This has resulted in significant arms sales to Saudi Arabia, with countries like the United States and the United Kingdom providing the kingdom with a wide array of military hardware, including aircraft, munitions, and precision-guided missiles. Arms trade and proxy wars. The Middle East is home to numerous proxy wars and regional rivalries. These conflicts provide opportunities for countries to indirectly support armed groups and governments, increasing the demand for military equipment. Arms dealers around the world capitalize on this demand, further feeding the cycle of conflict. IV. Propaganda, shaping public opinion. While the military-industrial complex benefits financially from wars, the machinery behind shaping public opinion plays a crucial role in sustaining these conflicts. The tactics used by governments, media, and other interest groups often manipulate public perception and maintain support for military endeavors. Fear-mongering. One of the most effective tools of propaganda is fear-mongering. Governments and media outlets often exaggerate threats and dangers to make the public more amenable to military interventions. In the run-up to wars or escalations in conflicts, heightened rhetoric and security concerns are often used to sway public opinion. Demonization of enemies. To gain public support, it is common for governments to demonize the opposing side in a conflict. Dehumanizing the enemy fosters a sense of moral righteousness and the belief that military action is necessary. The dehumanization of adversaries is a tactic employed to justify war and suppress opposition. Selective reporting. Media outlets can play a significant role in shaping public opinion through selective reporting. By emphasizing certain aspects of a conflict while downplaying others, the media can influence how the public perceives the situation. This selective reporting can make the case for military intervention seem more compelling. The role of lobbyists. Lobbying is a significant part of the military-industrial complex's influence over governments and their policies. Defense contractors and industry groups employ lobbyists to promote their interests and ensure that policies align with their financial goals. Lobbying expenditures. The defense industry spends substantial sums on lobbying activities. In the United States, for instance, defense contractors have consistently been among the top spenders on lobbying. In 2021, companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon spent millions of dollars on lobbying efforts to influence government decisions related to defense spending and policies. Influence over decision-makers. Lobbying extends beyond mere expenditures. Defense contractors often hire former government officials and military officers who maintain close relationships with current policymakers. This revolving door between the defense industry and government allows defense contractors to exert significant influence over policy decisions. VIX, the costs of war. While the military-industrial complex benefits from wars, it is important to remember the substantial human and economic costs associated with armed conflicts. Humanitarian consequences. War brings untold suffering to civilian populations. In Ukraine, the conflict has resulted in thousands of deaths, a displacement crisis, and severe economic disruptions. In the Middle East, ongoing wars have caused widespread suffering, with millions of people affected by violence and displacement. Economic toll. Wars also have a significant economic toll. Countries that invest heavily in defense spending divert resources from other critical areas, such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Additionally, the destruction caused by war and the need for reconstruction can drain a nation's finances for years or even decades. 7. The path to a more peaceful world. While the military-industrial complex continues to profit from wars and propaganda plays a role in perpetuating conflicts, there are steps that individuals, communities, and governments can take to promote peace and reduce the influence of these entities. Promote diplomacy. Diplomacy and dialogue should always be the preferred approach to resolving international conflicts. Encouraging governments to prioritize diplomatic solutions over military interventions can help reduce the demand for weapons and military equipment. Transparency and accountability. Citizens should demand greater transparency and accountability in government decision-making.